Welcome back to another episode of the Katrina Johnson Show. As usual, I am so grateful to have you with me. Be sure to share the podcast, subscribe, and leave a review or comments. Also, you can always follow me online at katrinajohnson.online or on Instagram at KatrinaJ7777. Let's get into the show. Hi there, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Katrina Johnson Show. So this is season 5, episode 4, and we're finishing this season on commitment. And today I want to talk to you about making a commitment to be the best version of yourself. You know, sometimes what we do is we'll take care of others and commit to doing things for other people and forget about the commitments we've made to ourselves. And though it's very admirable to serve others and be there for others and make that commitment to help others out, there's nothing wrong with that. But where the problem comes in is when we overlook the commitments we've made to ourselves, and then we don't fulfill those commitments that are important in making us a better person. So I want to encourage you in this episode to just take a look at where you are. Take a look at the commitments you've made to yourself. Have you put others before taking care of the things that you said you were going to do for yourself? Because again, it's very admirable, and I am one for serving and helping out others, but to the point where you forget about your goals and your commitments, it could be pretty not so good, let me say that. And so if we lose focus on what we've set out to do for ourselves, it could even make it difficult to really genuinely help someone else out. And in order to be a well-rounded person, a whole individual, then taking care of ourselves has to be a priority. And so there are many people that throughout history that we can look at their lives and see the fruit of their commitments. Michael Jordan is one. He committed to doing whatever he had to do to become one of the best basketball players of all time. So commitment takes a lot of work, and it takes focus and discipline. And you make a commitment to do something, you don't make that commitment with the end goal of not seeing it through. Though many times that is what happens. And when it comes to wanting to do better and live the better life, it's going to take work. I remember when several years ago, probably almost 10 years ago now, I decided to go back to school. Well, I had been out of school for years, and the classes were all online, and anyone that has taken online classes know that discipline is very necessary in order to finish school and get that degree. But it was a time in my life that I decided I'm going to make this commitment. I'm going to see it through. And I did just that. But it wasn't easy in terms of while others around me, family members, were living their life and going out and having a good time, there are times I had to say no. And it was hard, saying no. But I was disciplined because I was committed to seeing that through. And thank God I saw it through. And I even threw myself a little celebration at the end, because that was quite an achievement. So when we do commit to something, it does test our willpower. It tests every fiber within us to stick it through. But if you don't give up and you truly believe in what you are doing or aspiring to do, you can get through it. What's good is to sometimes think back on some of your achievements And that could be the best inspiration. You can listen to me and other motivational speakers and inspirational speakers, but sometimes it takes us taking a look at our own lives, looking at something during your life path that you did in order to achieve a goal. And remember, when you do achieve a goal, treat yourself. Commend yourself. Give yourself a round of applause. Do whatever you have to do in recognizing your achievement. That is so important. Like I said, when I went back to school and I got that degree and I said, okay, now I'm going to celebrate. And through just a little dinner party or something to that effect. I can't remember. I think it was just a little dinner gathering. And I was just very proud of myself for doing that. And so we have to, if we don't have any cheerleaders on our side, then hey, be your own cheerleader. But remember, when you make a commitment, you have a reason for making that commitment. You have a goal in mind, and there is an outcome that you want to see. There is an outcome that you want to see come to fruition. It is not going to happen by giving in and giving up or pushing it off and saying, I'll do it next time, or I can't do it because of this, I can't do it because of that. Listen, if you decided to make a commitment, then you have everything within you to see that through. And if you have some areas where you're not sure and you need help, you have access to resources to help you along the way to see that commitment through. But you have to search for those resources. Sometimes they're right under your nose. You have to have that spirit of, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to see this through, whatever I have to do. You have to have that spirit of, I've made this commitment. And when I made this commitment, I was serious about this commitment. And I'm going to see the outcome. So no matter what it takes, I'm going to see it through. So that's the type of work you got to put in. But I'm going to tell you something. It really begins in the mind. It really begins with your thoughts. So if you have that positive thought that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, well, what on earth would make you alleviate from that? What on earth would make you change directions? Doubt, maybe, fear, lack of confidence. All of those things can be worked out. If you just go back to the reason why you said you were going to do it, and then figure out a way to get it done. The more you achieve your commitment, the more your commitments, and the more you dedicate yourself to doing things that you see yourself accomplishing, the more confidence you will have, the less doubt you will have, and the less fearful you will be. And this is going to set the pace for the future for you. Because once you achieve one project, obstacle, or goal, commitment, then that just opens the door to many more. That is how successful people make it. They don't take no for an answer. They keep moving. They dedicate themselves. And it could be a lonely road. Since 2016, I have been on this road of being the best version of myself, and I'm not there. I think it's going to be a continual thing to continue to be the best version of myself, because as you know, it's easy to get out of that realm of being the best person and falling back into just being stagnant or not moving forward and being mediocre. So you have to continue, I believe, to push towards being the best version of yourself. So you achieve one goal, then what can you do to continue to be that best person? So like I said, since 2016, I have been on this journey and I'm loving it. But it does get a little lonely sometimes. It does get a little lonely. But that's okay, because I'm at a point in my life, my kids are grown. So I have this time now to focus on me, to focus on being the best me. That's the journey I've been on. And where it gets lonely is, there's times that, I want to go and do this and I want to do that. And, during this season, not too many of us are doing too much of anything, as you know, because of the state of our nation. But it can be lonely because when you decide, like I decided, to go down a path that's going to, in the end, put you in a better state than you've ever been, you have to take time to focus on doing the things that need to be done in order to get there. And in doing that means you have to seclude yourself and spend more time learning, researching, whatever it takes, whatever it is you're doing, you have to put aside that time to put into what it is you're doing to get to where you want to go. So that means that, it's not a bunch of playing around and having fun, because your focus is building something bigger. And to be honest with you, if you are committed to doing something that you love, that's fun in itself. And it makes it easier to say no to some things so you can focus on this other thing, right? So you can focus on your commitments because you are building something that you are going to appreciate in the long run. So it could, like I said, get lonely. And now let me say this. If you're a person like me, I do consider myself a loner. I mean, I can be happy by myself, though I like company too. Don't get me wrong. And I like to hang out every now and then. But honestly speaking, I am by nature a loner. So I can do things by myself. And part of my journey is just that. Part of my journey is loving myself, treating myself, taking myself out to dinner, taking myself to the show, taking myself to do shopping, loving on me. And that's very important. That's part of building your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So you will realize, and you're going to find out things about yourself that you never knew or that you had buried, and now you're bringing it all out again as you begin to commit to having a better life. It takes work. It takes commitment. It takes remembering the why behind what you're doing. And it's also about learning that obstacles will come. People will say negative things to try to take you off your path, and some of them not even meaning to. But you have to be strong enough to know that if you don't do what you've committed to yourself to do, then you will never reach the finish line. And so I'll go back to saying this. If your mind isn't right, if that mindset hasn't been renewed, if your thoughts are all over the place or negative, then this is not the time to make a commitment. I'm just being real. You have to make up your mind that you are serious, that you mean business. And once you do that, you'll see how easy it'll be. I did say it was hard, but there's some easiness with that when you really make up your mind. So the difficult times, once you've really made up your mind, the difficult times would be, like I said, you might want to go out and hang out with a friend, but you've got to work on this. Maybe you're writing a book or something. You've got to work on this book. So you're going to have to say no to that. You may want to binge on Netflix or something, but you're going to say no to something so that you can work on your commitment. So I want to encourage you to, first of all, get your mind right. Get your mindset where it should be. Know without a shadow of a doubt that you want a better life, period. And once you know that, and that is your deepest desire, then you can go into action. Then you can make a commitment to yourself to be the best version of yourself. But know this, you have to commit and work it all out. And it is achievable. I mentioned Michael Jordan, and there's many others. Colonel Sanders, his recipe, I don't know how many times he tried to sell his recipe to people and he was turned down. And finally, he made it. And the thing is, he was pretty up there in age. So I'm not saying it's going to take you forever, but I'm saying is being committed to seeing something through is key. So as we end this season on commitment, I hope that if you've missed any of the episodes prior to this on commitment, that you would go back and listen to them and get something out of them. So commitment is the key to having a better life. Commitment is the key to achieving our goals. And if you know someone else that might be in this situation of lack of commitment, don't know how to commit, need some encouragement or inspiration, then share the podcast with them. So until next time, as I always say, stay inspired. Let's keep the conversation going by emailing me at katrina@katrinajohnson.online. That's katrina@katrinajohnson.online. So grateful that you joined me on this episode. Remember, information plus inspiration equals transformation. And until next time, stay inspired.